Hey, good evening, everyone. I recently just watched this movie called Thriller a couple weeks ago. I came across it on Amazon. I decided to watch it on my own time, and no, this has nothing to do with Michael Jackson's classic Thriller. You know, the song, the video slash mini movie, the album. No, has nothing to do with any of that. This is a little kind of a low budget movie that came out in 2018. And so this movie is actually set in Compton, centers around some kids that attend Compton High School, and of course in Compton, South Central, LA. So the movie starts off kind of centers around a kid named Chauncey who has some kind of disorder, but I'm not sure what it is. And so these kids actually get ready to play this really nasty prank on him. They go inside this old abandoned house, and they put on these masks, and they know Quincy's gonna come by there, and they're gonna just scare him the best as much as they can. So they use this girl here, whose name is Lisa. They know that Chauncey has a crush on her. So Lisa's gonna come outside the abandoned house right when Chauncey comes by, and she's gonna tell him that she's looking for her cat that's went inside the building, and she's gonna ask Chauncey if he can come and help her look for it. And of course, Chauncey having disorder and being very tender-hearted person, having a crush on Lisa. Of course, he agrees to do with this. He agrees to go inside that abandoned building and help her look for her cat. And this actually reminds me of a scene from Everybody Hates Chris, when Chris goes inside Tasha's apartment to help her get rid of a mouse. And interestingly, both two people from Everybody Hates Chris appear in this movie. Um, the actress that plays Tasha, I think Paige Hurley is her name. Then the actor that plays Drew appears in this movie as well. They're part of this circle of friends that's gonna scare Chauncey right now. So this is what happens. They've got these masks, these skeleton masks on. So Chauncey has no clue who these creatures are or what they are. They chase him around the house, scare him half to death. So Chauncey's gonna runs upstairs, and there's more up there, and then this one girl comes out to scare him, also in her skeleton mask or whatever. So Chauncey panics, he pushes her, she falls to her death. Somehow these kids are able to convince the police that this was all Chauncey's fault. Chauncey just killed her on his own. I don't know. I don't know if they told the police that he chased her around the house and pushed her down and killed her. I don't know. So this girl dies. She's part of a set of twins. But one thing I noticed is, I don't know, these kids seem very suburban to me. The way they talk and everything, they really don't sound anything like inner city kids or Compton kids at all. So, anyways, Chauncey gets sent to prison. Unbelievably, after 4 years, he's let out. And I say unbelievably because these kids look like they're like fourth or fifth grade at the most. But somehow 4 years later, they're in their senior year of high school. So apparently, right here, they're actually supposed to be eighth graders. So that's what it is, man. And so one thing I noted about this movie, and one thing I noted about the movie is just, I don't know, it's just a lot of the acting. Just as I watched this movie for the first time, as I got halfway through, I just something was off. It's just the acting, how the characters were reacting to things and reacting to each other. It was just off. The acting was just really not very good. And it seems like they just threw in a bunch of little issues just to make the storyline interesting. But a lot of the little story lines and plots thrown in didn't get fleshed out much, or they didn't get dealt with aside from another character mentioning it really quick, or it was dealt with in kind of a messy manner, And yeah, so let's go through. So even they even throw this trio of gangsters in the mix of the movie. But I don't know, there's something about this trio of thugs, which the leader is I think his name is Easy May or whatever. But something about them just doesn't ring true, or it's not convincing. I don't know if it's their acting or their body language or what, but just they just really weren't convincing as real, street thug type guys, and in Compton. And something was just off. Maybe it's probably the acting and everything and dynamics, especially compared to other like street thug gangsters that you see in other movies set in inner city, especially movies from earlier in the 2000s and the 90s and whatnot. So that group of kids, they're still friends to this day. Attending Compton High School as 12th graders, as I mentioned. So within this crew, if you actually have some couples, so the two Hispanic kids are an item. They're actually dating. So their names are, the names are slipping my mind, man. And then Lisa and Derek are an item. They're dating, boyfriend and girlfriend. And then what else? Yes, and then the one girl named Kim. She's actually dating the what's her name? Oh, I'm sorry. Lisa is actually dating TJ, who is the star football player for the high school. So Lisa's dating him. They're an item. They're a couple. And then the girl Kim Morris, who's the one that's obsessed with Unique. She's the one that's dating the guy named Derek. Derek's the one is this one right here, who's about trying to be a musician. And then the two, of course, I mentioned the two Hispanic kids in the crew are a couple as well. And then yeah, one of the issues that's just thrown in the movie to make it interesting, as I mentioned, is that it turns out Derek is having trouble with his grades. And once again, this is just, it's not fleshed out much at all, aside from it being quickly discussed in this scene right here. You know, so after that, it's never addressed at all or fleshed out. We don't see him solving that problem at all. There's no more addressing it, except for that one little scene that we just, with the teacher that we just came from. Yeah, and a few other things. So then, within the movie, as we go through the movie, Chauncey has come out of prison, and he is just angry and sullen and silent. But we're led to believe that he's the one going around killing. So there's actually a few kills in the middle of the movie. So one of those kills is here. Let me show you something. So what we think is Chauncey has started his little killing spree, but I don't know. What's supposed to be like a slasher film, whole slasher sequence. I don't know. It's really a really small part of the movie, It's like just another one of the little side stories in the movie, like him going around killing is not really a major part of the movie at all. And let me show you one more thing. And as I mentioned, the acting is not very good. So let's take a look at this. So the acting is not very good. The way they approached, Chauncey, or it's almost like they're still rehearsing, you know what I mean? So once again, it wasn't convincing at all. Yeah. Yeah, the acting wasn't good or convincing. And another thing that was odd about the movie, so Kim Morris, the character, as I mentioned, she's involved with Derek. But as soon as she meets Unique, they start flirting with each other. They essentially kind of become a couple, have a little affair going, which is, I mean that's just messed up. She just did her boyfriend Derek like that. But one thing I found odd, I don't know. Actually, before I get to that, let me talk about this scene right here. So as I mentioned, the two Hispanic kids, this girl here, and the Hispanic boy, I forget his name. They're a couple, but they just openly start flirting right here at this party, not trying to hide it at all, which is really not very realistic. You know? So it's really not realistic. Like, you would think this is the moment that I think her name is Tiffany. You would think this is the moment that she would want to have a talk with her boyfriend, talk to her about why they don't want to be, they can't really be together anymore. But instead, she just watches Eddie. Eddie is his name. She just watches Eddie get thrown out, which is it doesn't make sense. It's not realistic. You would think that she would want to defend Eddie at that moment, and as I said, go out, just get with him, and talk to him about the relationship, why she wants it to be over. But that is going to happen at the end of the movie when it's too late, but we'll see. But listen to this dialogue here hold on. Listen to this dialogue here that doesn't make. Let me show you. But listen to this dialogue after Eddie gets thrown out. So once again, it doesn't make sense. So once again, that doesn't make sense. It's not realistic. So Lisa confronts, Tiffany about how she just, treated Ronnie, which is, the right reaction. But then Tiffany is like, well, who cares about, Eddie? Who cares about Eddie? But Ronnie's looking good. And then all of a sudden, when she says that, all of a sudden, Lisa forgets about, what's just happened. And all of a sudden, this is all okay. This doesn't make. So it's not realistic, So yeah, so it's kind of a messy handling of yeah. So let's move on. So now Tiffany and Eddie decide to, start talking about, their relationship, or, or Tiffany decides to talk to Eddie about their relationship, like, which should have been done earlier. But anyways, it's too late for that, because as soon as Tiffany turns around, what happens? As soon as she turns around, Eddie gets snatched and murdered. So the killer goes on just a quick spree of killings at the end, just killing a few people. Okay, but one thing that doesn't make sense, Kim's relationship with Unique. I'm just wondering, like, how is it that no one saw anything wrong with that? Because I'm pretty sure Unique is well into his 20s, right? At least in his 24, 25. How is it no one sees anything wrong with that he's making out and, in a relationship with a girl that's hasn't even finished high school yet. How is it that none of the teachers, none of her friends, or any of the students see anything wrong with that, or think it's weird at all? Like, yeah, I mean, and even if she is 18, I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of just the fact that she hasn't. It's just odd for a guy that's deep into his 20s, who's a big time music star, to be, you know, to be with, a girl that just hasn't even finished high school yet. Well, so there's the second killing right there. And Kim gets killed as well. So Unique just got murdered. Kim gets killed. So you got the prom, not the prom, it's the homecoming going on. So that was odd. Let's go to the end. And of course, who we think is Chauncey, he goes after Lisa to try to kill her, but Lisa actually doesn't get killed. He ends up not being able to kill her. And TJ doesn't get killed either. So this is the twist at the end. The killer all this time is not Chauncey, but it's gonna be Derek. Derek is the killer. He's the one that did the kills that we saw throughout the movie. It's not Chauncey.
He tried to kill me.
So of course Derek is caught. Everyone's surprised that it's him. And of course he tries to, get the gun away from the officer. Of course, Chauncey actually shows up. They struggle for a little bit. So you see Chauncey throw him into traffic. He gets hit. And of course, Chauncey's not going to get arrested for that because, he stopped, someone that was trying to run from the law, basically. So of course, Derek is going to the ambulance because he's been hurt. And of course, we know after he goes to the hospital, of course, he's going to prison for murder. So Lisa finally apologizes to Chauncey for what happened those 4 years ago. So it turns out Chauncey's not even the killer. The killer was Derek. So anyway, so that's my take on the movie. And as I said, that really wasn't a very good movie. The acting wasn't very good. The plots were just thrown in to make the movie interesting and not really fleshed out or dealt with in a proper way or dealt with at all. And some parts that looked like they were still rehearsing, even the fight scenes that we saw. So that's what I wanted to say about this movie. And please feel free to reply to anything that I said in this video, or just make any comments about the movie in the comments. So I look forward to hearing from you, All right. Have a good one. Bye bye.